The Mets brought out the brooms at Citi Field this weekend. They swept their first home series of 2025 as they edged the Blue Jays on Sunday 2-1. So let's talk about some Mets baseball. We are going to do it with the host of Mets Therapy, Andrew Claudio, who joins me now. Andrew, how you doing? It's been a while since we talked some Mets baseball, but I have to ask you, with everything that's been pretty good for the Mets throughout the offseason, getting Juan Soto, and your show is called Mets Therapy, do Mets fans actually need therapy right now?
Well, so there's portions of therapy where you get to talk about how good things are going.
This
You
is
know, the
true.
praise
This is true.
reports of therapy. I also part of therapy is how do you continue the things that led to the progress and the prosperity that you're experiencing. And I think the Mets, after the ground that was laid last year during a very special and fun season, laid that groundwork, I should say, to this offseason to create what seems like pretty incredible vibes and praise reports as a result to start this season. So I'm feeling good, Dex. I was at Citi Field last night, part of the crowd that a lot of Mets fans and their manager have said created this atmosphere on a cold, wet, and rainy night. There's something going on at Citi Field, and I'm happy to be able to enjoy it.
You make a great point, my friend. You're right. Therapy can be used in many, many different ways. Mets
Mm-hmm.
fans still need to talk about therapy, even though it's been a good start to the season for the Metropolitans thus far. Now, Andrew, the Mets, they've now won 4 straight games, including back-to-back one-run victories this weekend. What did you like about what you saw from this team in their first series at Citi Field this season?
Uh, you have to start with the pitching. You know, I am a little concerned about the starting rotation and the depth. You know, we saw what happened with David Peterson, and after the game, seems like he just got the wind knocked out of him, which is ironic because nobody touched him. Usually that happens on a contact play, but hopefully it's nothing serious. He talked about feeling nauseous and not being able to breathe right, but you know that he would have made it through the fifth inning, which seems like a rarity with this rotation. Now, I remind people, and this is a point I've made at Mets Therapy, like this was what happened last year too, and the Mets had a long stretch where their starting rotation was putting up zeros but not getting deep into games. And then over the course of the year, and this is seems like to be it's part of the David Stern strategy, they're just able to start extending guys a little bit. And then by the time we got to September, their strength was their rotation. So my hope is we get something similar in that sense. Having said that, between the rotation and this pitching staff in general being able to put up zeros, and combined with this bullpen in particular, that outside of a couple bad innings from Danny Young and a weird inning from AJ Minter and like this random inning from Jose Buto, has been lights out. Best ERA in baseball through 9 games. I'll take it, especially since what I thought was going to carry them being their lineup hasn't. And, you know, well, once that actually does happen, we'll see if the pitching is still sustainable and helping them win games.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second with the lineup and the bullpen with the starting pitching. You do wonder. You make a great point about them being stretched out. Usually, you know, seeing this in baseball now, where a lot of rotations won't get stretched out until the end of April. So something to keep an eye on. I know it's only been 9 games, but something to keep an eye on with the Metropolitans. Now, the bullpen, which you mentioned, strong again in this series, especially in the final 2 games of the series. Is the bullpen the strength of this team right now? And how confident are you in the arms that the Mets have coming out of the pen right now?
It's two different questions, right?
Yeah.
It's is it the strength of the team right now? And absolutely, it's been. Max Kranick looks unhittable at the moment. Brazabon, the guy that they got from the Marlins last year, didn't look great last year, and then this season has also looked unhittable. Had a huge save in Miami on Wednesday before they came home for this series. Had a very clutch performance in the game last night at Citi Field, going 2 1/3 and cleaning up the mess that Budo had left him. It's good to get contributions from multiple different places, and this really wasn't a luxury that they've had in years past. It's been you've got your 2 or 3 guys that you trust, and hopefully they don't get burnt out. Now, like I don't, if this is sustainable, I don't know how often Diaz is going to need to go into the 8th inning to go long into his appearances, which is a thing that I think a lot of Met fans and I think the Mets even believe. He's a one inning pitcher, and he maxes out in that one inning. AJ Minter, it's looked good from him, even though some guys have gotten on base. Reed Garrett throws a scoreless frame today. As of right now, they're absolutely the strength of this team. And not only are they keeping teams in games, if they're trailing, they're closing the door when they come in, which is all you can ask for from a bullpen.
Yeah, it's all you can ask for. It looks like a strength right now, and you got to like the arms that are coming out of the pen. And you're also right, Mets fans not used to seeing that or having that confidence in multiple guys coming out of the pen at this point in the season. Now, you mentioned the offense too, Andrew. After scoring 5 runs in the first game of the series against the Blue Jays, the team only scored 5 total runs in their last 2 games of the series. So what do you think needs to happen for the Mets bats to wake up as they move forward in the season?
It's funny, the bullpen being such a strength allows them to go 5 for 25 with runners in scoring position over the weekend, and that be enough. The fact that they're able to have zeros on the board or only be trailing by 2 runs in the 8th inning creates an opportunity for them to just have one good inning. Now, one thing we've seen over the last 2 seasons in the Mets approach is that they get guys on base. They're one of the top teams with runners in scoring position opportunities. They just got to drive in runs. They had a lot of leadoff doubles this weekend that didn't get converted. They just had a lot of runners in scoring position and just in general on the bases that then just got left stranded there. Last night, as fun as that Jesse Winker performance was, and that triple that went off the wall in the 8th inning, it was their first hit and ended up going first hit with runners in scoring position on the night, and they go 2 for 13 on the night in general. There are some guys that are off to some slow starts. But Lindor usually does get off to a slow start. I know he had a hit in every game this weekend. Vientos, it's been a struggle in his. I know it's not as technically his sophomore year, but in his sophomore year as a everyday player, he's looked a little bit off. Alonso, thankfully, his power has come back, which has been great, as well as his clutch hitting. Nimmo, and look, we got to say it. Juan Soto looks somewhat off to start the year. Yet he's still like hovering around a 400 on base percentage and able to be impactful in multiple ways by getting on base. So as far as I'm concerned, I think as the weather gets warmer, the power will come. But for right now, just being opportunistic with runners in scoring position, because there are plenty of opportunities that are created. So that way your bullpen doesn't have to either protect a 1-run lead or a 2-run lead late in games. I wouldn't mind another 5-run lead like we saw on Friday being the consistent thing, especially with how many chances they're going to get to create it.
Yeah, less stressful innings for the arms in the bullpen with some bigger leads would be nice for the Mets fan. Last thing, Andrew, looking ahead with the schedule this week, the Mets, they've got the Marlins coming to Flushing for 3 games before they head out west for a 3-game set with the Athletics. What are you keeping your eye on with the Mets this week?
Look, keep the good times rolling. The fact that the Marlins got a game on you last week should be annoying. The Blue Jays, I think, are better than the Marlins. I have no idea what to expect from the Blue Jays long term. They had a lot of guys that aren't hitting yet as well for them this season, between Vladdy Jr. and Santander, the guy they signed from the Orioles, and of course Bo Bichette. The Marlins have actually gotten off to a pretty hot start. They shut out the Braves yesterday. I don't know if that's actually something to brag about, because a lot of teams have beaten the Braves so far this season. You should be able to, over these next 6 games, and this is really going to be my focus for the first couple months of the season, just win series after series, so that way you can build a good enough record, and then you look up and it's the All-Star break and you're maybe 10 or 20 games over 500 as you're looking to improve your roster. So look, I was skeptical about this team and their rotation coming into the year. If this bullpen's sustainable, and once the bats start to get heated up, there's going to be an opportunity for this team to really look like the World Series contender that they want to be later in the year. But as far as the short term concerned, just win multiple series, maybe even here's a thought, get a winning streak going to start the year. But yeah, just win 4 of the next 6 and then onwards and upwards.
All right, there you go. Win 4 of the next 6 is what Andrew Claudio would like to see him do. Mets have won 4 in a row, so they are streaking. They're trending in the right way, just coming off a sweep of the Blue Jays at Citi Field. That is Andrew Claudio. Check him out on Mets Therapy, helping all the Mets fans out there. Also, you see him executive producing for Knicks Film School. You see the shirt back there. Andrew, always a pleasure talking some Mets baseball with you. We'll do it again soon.
You as well, Dexter.